Okay, here we go. It is time for the second half of Eye of the Earthquake Dragon. And remember what's going on here. They are fighting Maldred in the Eye of the Dragon, which is deep, deep underground. And here are the two new Dragon Masters that they've met. And they are the co-Dragon Masters for the Earthquake Dragon. And they're fighting Maldred. So here we go, Chapter 8. Unlocking the Door. Worm, has Maldred really stolen your powers? Drake asked his dragon. It is true, Worm answered. My powers are gone. Oh no. Argent, attack, Jean yelled, but the silver dragon looked at her and shook his head. Jean's dragon stone glowed. Argent says his powers are gone too, she cried. It's no use, Dharma said. All our dragon powers are trapped in Maldred's magic red bottle. Maldred laughed. Ha ha, I win. Now stand down or I will feed you to the Naga when I summon him. You will never control the Naga, the twins yelled, raising their arms. Boom! They blasted Maldred with yellow energy. The energy formed a bubble around the wizard, trapping him. So, their powers aren't gone. The twins turned to Drake and the others. We told you, said Yuri. We did not need your help, Zelda said. But then, pop! The yellow bubble around Maldred exploded in a flash of red. Maldred's laugh rang through the temple as the red smoke cleared again. I told you no one could stop me, he said. Yuri and Zelda stared at him wide-eyed. They were not expecting that, Drake guessed. The dark wizard walked toward the round door that led to the Naga's home. He held up two discs, the silver key and the gold key. Fly, keys, fly into the dragon's eyes, Maldred chanted, and the keys flew out of his hands. Jean climbed onto Argent's back, and they charged at Maldred. Argent swiped at him with his wing, knocking Maldred down. Okay, so they don't have their magic powers, but they're still dragons, so they knock him down. But it was too late. Both keys floated up to the top of the door, where the head of a dragon was carved into the stone. The silver key slid into the dragon's left eye. The gold key slid into the dragon's right eye. Those are the cute keys there. You see that in the picture? They don't look like keys, but they are a type of key. Both eyes lit up with shimmering silver and gold light, and the door opened. The twins turned, their bodies stiff, and faced Maldred. Gold and silver light swirled in their eyes. We shall obey you now, they said. You have unlocked the power of the Naga. You can control the Naga through us. Uh-oh. Looks like the twins are now under Maldred's control. Drake turned to Jean and Dharma. Oh, no, he said. Yuri was wrong. Their connection to the Naga was not stronger than the keys. Yuri, Zelda, don't listen to Maldred, Jean yelled. But the twins stared at the dark wizard. What is your command? They asked. Maldred grinned. I command you to summon the Naga. Chapter 9, Earthquake Dragon. Yuri and Zelda began to chant, Naga Avadi, Naga Avadi, Naga Avadi, Naga Avadi. Yuri, Zelda, don't listen to him, Drake yelled. I don't think they can help it, Dharma said. The key's powers are very strong. Well, we are strong too, Jean said. She ran over to Maldred and drew her sword. Stop this right now, she cried. Here she is. She's got her sword and she's saying, stop this right now. Maldred waved his hand and the sword flew out of hers and stuck into the temple wall. The earthquake dragon is coming, Maldred crowed. Nothing you do now will stop that from happening. Drake knew that the Naga had caused earthquakes when he first hatched. He remembered what Griffith had told him. He brought down mountains. He caused great floods. We can't let Maldred control the Naga, Drake said. He closed his eyes. Worm, what can we do? Worm replied, to stop Maldred, you must stop Yuri and Zelda. Drake turned to Jean and Dharma. Worm says we need to stop Yuri and Zelda in order to stop Maldred, Drake told them. How can we do that without hurting them? Jean asked. She eyed her sword stuck in the wall. We can't, Dharma said. Yuri and Zelda continued to chant, Naga Avadi, Naga Avadi, Naga Avadi. That's right, Naga Avadi. As they chanted, rows and rows of scales slid past the round door opening. Finally, a huge yellow eye appeared. Drake gasped. The Naga is enormous, he stammered. Yes, he is, Maldred said with glee in his voice. He made a circle with his hands, and an image of a dragon curled up inside the earth, appearing in the air. Energy lines extended from the dragon to every part of the planet. The Naga's energy is connected to every place in the world, Maldred said. When the Naga turns his eye to a place, the earth there shakes. Then he clapped his hands and the image vanished. What shall we ask of the Naga? The twins asked. Maldred cackled. Tell the Naga to turn his eye to the kingdom of Bracken, he commanded. Oh no. The kingdom of Bracken. Chapter 10. Bracken Falls. Oh, this is going to be bad. Naga, turn your eye to the kingdom of Bracken, the twins repeated. Not Bracken, Drake yelled. No, the dragon's large yellow eye looked at Yuri and Zelda, but the twins stared blankly ahead, still under Maldred's control. The Naga is a peaceful dragon, Worm told Drake. He does not want to harm anyone, but he must obey his masters. The Naga's eye turned away from the door. Let us see what is happening in Bracken now, Maldred said. Drake, I sense that you have a magical object with you, an object that acts as a portal to Bracken. Portal? Drake asked. Then he understood. Drake held up the magic mirror. Excellent, Maldred said. Gaze into it and tell me what you see. Drake didn't want to obey Maldred, but he needed to see what was happening in Bracken. His family, his friends, were they safe? Oh my gosh, look at what's going on in Bracken. See that picture? Oh, all kinds. It looks like trees have fallen over, houses have fallen down. Drake gazed into the mirror and a scene appeared. He could see King Roland's castle in the distance. He could see the green fields where crops grew and the hut where his family lived. The sun was shining as villagers worked in the field. Then suddenly the ground began to shake. People began to run. Some of the huts collapsed. Big cracks in the earth started to break apart the fields. No, that is my home, Drake yelled. Tears ran down his cheeks. That's not going to get the job done. These Dragon Masters need to step up, get something done here. Dharma stepped up to Maldred. There we go. See, Dharma. Good for her. Or him, rather, excuse me. Dharma stepped up to Maldred. Why must you destroy the world? Maldred cackled. I am not trying to destroy it. I am trying to control it, he replied. With the power of the Naga at my command, everyone will do what I say. And I'm starting with Bracken, because that is where my enemies have gathered. Those wizards will be sorry they tried to mess with me. Jean pulled her sword out of the wall. Ah! And with a mighty cry, she charged toward Maldred. The wizard scowled. He held up his hand and then pushed forward. Whoosh, like this. Whoosh. Magical energy sent Jean flying backward across the temple. Chapter 11, Drake's Plan. Oh, I'm glad he's got a plan. Jean crashed into the temple wall and slid down to the floor. Drake and Dharma ran over and knelt down beside her. Are you all right? Drake asked. Jean slowly opened her eyes. I'm okay, Jean replied, but just some, bumps and bruises. The attack on Bracken had ended. Maldred walked over to Drake and looked into the mirror. Your castle is still standing. Perhaps I should make the Naga attack Bracken again. Or shall I attack somewhere else next?
Mailman just went past.
Okay. That was Grandma. You probably heard her voice. She said the mailman just came past. Okay, so Maldred says, should I make the Naga attack Bracken again, or shall I attack somewhere else? The dark wizard strolled away, stroking his beard as he paced the floor. The Naga's eye appeared in the doorway as he waited for his next command. Think, Drake told himself. There has to be a way to get the twins to stop obeying him. His eyes traveled up to the glowing eyes of the stone dragon above the Naga's door. A solution hit him. Drake quickly whispered to Jean and Dharma, if I can take the keys out of the eyes, Maldred won't be able to control the twins anymore. I'm going to climb up there and grab them. Dharma nodded. Go, Jean urged him. There he is. He's climbing up the little statue on the door to get the keys out of the eyes. Maldred was still pacing, deciding where to attack next. Drake tiptoed to the doorway. The keys were high up on top of the door, inside the eye sockets of the stone dragon. Luckily, the curved body of the dragon along the sides of the door was perfect for climbing. Drake climbed until he was in reach of the gold key. I just need to grab it and then grab the silver key next, he thought. Unlocking the keys should disrupt Maldred's hold over Yuri and Zelda. He gripped the top of the dragon's head with one hand. He stuck out his other hand to grab the gold key. Ouch, Drake cried. The key had shocked his fingertips when he touched it. Maldred heard him and spun around. What are you doing up there? He asked. Then he aimed his magical fingers at Drake, ready to attack. Oh, so Drake tried to touch the key and it shocked him. Now Maldred has discovered him and he's going to use his magical power. Chapter 12. Oh, somebody's using karate there. Chapter 12. That must be Dharma. No, is that Dharma? Maybe it's Jean. Okay, anyway, we'll find out. Drake's sword. Drake's sword. Leave Drake alone, you evil wizard, Jean cried. Maldred was still facing Drake, preparing to attack. Jean ran up to him and kicked him behind the knees. The wizard fell forward. Dharma ran to help Jean hold Maldred down. Okay, so Dharma and Jean are holding Maldred down. Hurry, Drake, he called up. Grab the key. I can't touch it, Drake cried. But then he remembered his sword. He used his free hand to pull the sword from his belt. His other hand slipped, but he caught the dragon's mouth before he fell. Then he used the sword to shimmy the gold key from the eye socket above the door. Okay, so the key is a little round thing. The key is a little round thing. You see that? And he puts it into the door like into the eye. There's a little slot in the eye. And the key is like a coin. But now, Drake is prying the key out of the eye. The key dropped to the floor with a clatter. Drake lost his grip again, and this time he fell. Worm's tail caught him before he hit the floor. Drake scrambled to pick up the gold key. Look at the twins, Dharma yelled as Jean struggled to hold Maldred. The twins were blinking like they had just woken up. The silver and gold light had left their eyes. Removing one key must have broken Maldred's hold on them, Drake realized. Yuri, Zelda, you control the Naga again, he yelled. Tell your dragon not to hurt anybody. Maldred wrestled away from Jean and Dharma and jumped to his feet. Oh no, Maldred's up again. No, the wizard fumed. Obey me. You cannot tell us what to do anymore, Yuri said. We will tell the Naga to return to his peaceful home in the center of the earth, the Elder added. The big yellow eye turned toward the twin dragon masters. A large tear glistened there. Their dragon stones began to glow. Oh, the earthquake dragon. He's crying a little tear for his dragon masters. Maldron spun around and glared at Drake. Give me that gold key, he yelled. The dark wizard charged at Drake, but Jean lunged at him again, this time grabbing him by the ankles. Then Dharma grabbed the red bottle from Maldred's pocket, the bottle containing the magic powers of the dragons. Dragons, get ready, Dharma cried, and he pulled the stopper out of the bottle. There he goes. Good job, Dharma. Now the dragons are going to get their magic powers back again. I can see the battle has shifted in favor of the dragons and the dragon masters. Back in the bottle, chapter 13. Swirls of green, silver, and gold poured from the bottle and zoomed around the temple. Green energy swirled back into Worm. Silver energy swirled back into Argent. Gold energy swirled back into Hema. It doesn't matter how powerful your dragons are, Maldred said. You could not stop me before, and you will not stop me now. Oh, yes, we will, Drake shouted. Every Dragon Master's stone began to glow green. Stop, Maldred, the 5 Dragon Masters commanded together. Worm lifted Maldred into the air with the power of his mind. I am more powerful than your dragons, Maldred thundered. He held up his hands, and the red magic sizzled in his palms. But just as he was about to attack, okay, so Maldred is just getting ready to attack. Argent blasted Maldred with his silver shine. Hema blasted Maldred with gold beams, and the Naga's yellow eye blinked. Then a huge beam of yellow light shot out and hit Maldred. Wham! They're blasting him with their light. The energy of the 4 dragons swirled around Maldred. Stop this now, Maldred fumed. He tried to hurl an attack at the dragons, but the red energy fizzled out. I said, stop! The green, gold, silver, and yellow lights got brighter. They swirled faster and faster around Maldred. The wizard began to spin, faster and faster and faster. What should we do now? Our dragons can't hold Maldred like this forever, Drake yelled to his friends over the loud spinning winds. Then he heard Griffith's voice coming from the mirror tucked into his belt. Drake, Drake! Drake looked into the mirror and saw Griffith's face, with his friends Bo and Anna next to the wizard. You have caught Maldred just in time. The new spell is ready. We will finish Maldred for good, Griffith said. He showed Drake his hand, which held a mound of glittering powder. Quick, turn the mirror toward Maldred. There's Griffith and Bo and Anna. See the picture there? Griffith and Bo and Anna in the mirror. Drake obeyed. The wizard was still spinning, caught up in the dragon's powers. The glittering powder streamed from the mirror and surrounded Maldred. The Dragon Masters watched as the powder swirled with Maldred. His body transformed into hundreds of buzzing red flies. Dharma held out the empty bottle, and the flies flew right into it. Dharma sealed it with the stopper. The others gathered around Dharma. They stared at the bottle. Good work, Griffith called out from the mirror. Did your spell just turn Maldred into a bunch of flies? Jean asked. Yes, Griffith replied. Now it is up to the 5 of you to make sure Maldred never returns. The mirror went dark. An angry buzzing sound came from the bottle. Yuri and Zelda stared at it. How can we make sure he won't escape? They asked. That's a good question, Drake said. But you heard Griffith. We must make sure that Maldred never returns. Chapter 14. balance. Yuri and Zelda, see them at the top there? I think they look pretty cool. We should store the bottle where no one will be able to find it, Jean suggested. Yuri and Zelda looked at each other. We know a very safe place, they said. Zelda took the red bottle from Dharma. She and Yuri approached the open door. Naga, guard this for us, they said. The yellow eye blinked. Then the eye moved away from the doorway. Rows and rows of scales slid past the opening. Finally, the Dragon Masters saw the tip of the Naga's tail. Zelda held out the bottle, and the Naga folded its thick tail around it. Then the tail moved away, and the Naga's eye returned to the doorway. Thank you, Naga. So he stuck his tail through. They put the bottle into the tail, and the Naga pulled his tail out again. Thank you, Naga, Zelda said. Now we must remove the silver key and close the door, Yuri said. That reminds me, here is your gold key, Drake said. And he handed it to Dharma. Dharma looked up at the gold dragon. Hema. Excuse me. Granddaddy had a sneeze. Okay. We're getting close to the end here. Hopefully I can keep going without sneezing again, but we'll see. Hema, please retrieve the other key. The gold dragon glowed and then transformed into a monkey. The gold monkey scrambled up and removed the silver key. The Naga's huge yellow eye blinked. Then the stone door slid closed. Okay, the Naga is at peace again, the twins said. The monkey climbed down and handed the silver key to Jean. Then Hema transformed back into a dragon. That's a pretty good magical power. Now that everything is in balance, because the Naga is at rest, I must return to Suvarna, Dharma said. I must guard the gold key once more. And I must return to Galia and guard the silver key, Jean said. Drake hugged his two friends. I will miss you, but maybe Worm and I will come visit sometime. I hope you do, Dharma said with a smile. Anytime, Jean said. I still owe you a sword fighting lesson. Aw, Jean's going to give him a sword fighting lesson. Jean and Dharma left with their dragons. Drake stared for a moment at the Naga's closed door. Yuri and Zelda smiled at Drake. Thank you for helping us defeat Maldred, Drake, Yuri said. We could not have done it ourselves, added Zelda. Dragon Masters have to help each other, Drake said. We should help you rebuild your home, Zelda said. Yes, Yuri agreed. The Naga did not mean to harm it. Bracken, Drake cried. He held up the mirror. Griffin, is everyone okay? And Griffin says, things are under control here, the wizard replied. Yuri and Zelda can stay with the Naga, but you and Worm should come home right away. We will, Drake promised. Please come back and visit, Yuri said. Yes, please do, Zelda added. I have an idea, Drake said, and he handed Zelda his magic mirror. Use this to contact us whenever you want to, especially if there is another threat to the Naga. We promise, Yuri and Zelda said. Drake touched Worm's ring. Worm, let's go home. Ta-da! 15. Last chapter, 15. This was a long one. There is Bracken, and the castle looks okay. Chapter 15. After the quake. See this word? It's quake. Q-U-A-K-E. Quake. Drake and Worm appeared in front of King Roland's castle in a flash of green light. All around the castles, trees had toppled down. In the village, he could see that many huts had fallen apart. Rory ran up to him. Drake, Worm, let me take you to Griffith, she said. Bo is putting out fires with Shu, and Anna and Kepri are helping the villagers move into the castle. They ran into the castle entry, past the guards. People from the village were streaming in through the gates. Why has everybody come here? Drake asked. King Roland says villagers can stay here until their homes are rebuilt, Rory replied. Luckily, none of the people of Bracken got hurt during the earthquake, thanks to the wizards. Really? What happened? Drake asked. Griffith heard through the mirror that the Naga was going to attack Bracken, she said, so the wizards cast a spell to protect the people. It was a really powerful spell, so it has left the wizards pretty weak. Rory led Drake into the castle's main dining hall, which had been transformed into a hospital. Rows of beds had been set up for the wizards. Oh, the wizards are all in bed. They're so weak from casting their powerful spell to protect everybody. Drake left Worm outside the door and walked in. Griffith smiled when he saw Drake. Good work, Drake, Griffith said, walking up to them. I am very proud of you. I don't feel proud of myself, Drake thought. He sighed and said, I wish we had saved Bracken. Then he heard a voice behind him. Drake! Drake's mother ran toward him. She crushed him in a big hug. Oh, Drake, I've been so worried about you, his mom said. Drake started to cry. I'm so glad you're okay, he said. She nodded. Thanks to the wizards, nobody was hurt, she said. But many homes have been lost, and the fields are destroyed. The crops are ruined, he asked. Drake came from a family of onion farmers, so he knew how important the crops were to the kingdom. Yes, she nodded. They're all gone. Drake turned to Griffith. Can you use magic to bring the crops back? The wizard shook his head. That will take a different kind of power, I'm afraid. Then his eyes lit up. Ah, Petra! Drake turned to see a blonde-haired girl walk in with a four-headed green dragon. It was Petra and her poison dragon, Zara. Her poison dragon, Zara. It's got 4 heads, my gosh. Petra rushed over to them. Griffith, she cried, I found the special book you wanted in my family's library. You were right. There is a dragon in the land of Inis Banba. The land of Inis Banba. Inis, I-N-I-S, Banba, B-A-N-B-A. A dragon with powers to heal the land. Excellent, Griffith replied. You have arrived just in time. Drake looked at his mom and smiled. There is hope. Petra leafed through the book. The book says that the spring dragon is very difficult to find. It won't be easy, Griffith agreed. We have to try, Drake said. We need to find this dragon and save Bracken. Okay, so that is going to be the next adventure, finding the spring dragon. Okay, the end. That is the end of Dragon Masters, Eye of the Earthquake Dragon. I hope you liked it. Bye-bye.